All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army, episode 2.229. We got a lot to talk about this week. We're going to start out with headlines. Balon d'Or, Berhalter, and some coaching. Actually, a lot of coaching vacancies. Weekly what if, Mo Salah related. U.S. men's national team. We got the international break. We are halfway through right now. We will recap the Uzbekistan 3-0 win and then talk a little bit about the Oman game on Tuesday. Then Premier League will get your head right for the weekend ahead. And then finally, stoppage time with Ivan Toney's best bets and everyone's favorite segment, GOAWs. Now it is time to welcome in this week's panel of beauties, starting with everyone's favorite Bostonian, Mitchell Goulet, a.k.a. Overtime Mitch. And this is going to be a weird one, Mitch. I wrote it down at some point in the last few weeks when you were traveling, you're over in New Zealand or whatever. And I just wrote down cat lady ? Are you like a cat owner? Are you a cat person rather than a dog person? Did you tweet something to this effect? Where does my mind come up with this?
I love how I'm the one that has to connect the dots with your lack of notes. I do own two cats. Well, to be more specific, my roommates own two cats, and I hang out with them sometimes. I don't take care of them because they are my roommate's cats, but I get to reap the benefits of owning a cat, which is like, oh, kitty. But that's it. It's the only extent. I am more of a dog person though, so your notes need to be a little sharper next time.
They do need to be sharper. I'm going to own that. I'm also going to say that's a good answer. That's a very good answer. You're kind of a accidental cat lady, but you're more of a dog
Yeah,
person. So I can
yeah,
still trust you as opposed to the other way
yes,
around.
exactly.
Okay, fair enough.
We'll
Fair enough.
we'll play with cats,
Right.
but prefer
Right,
dogs.
likes cats. Not
With
apparently
summer,
not
yes.
allergic to cats. Okay, all right.
No.
All right, next up, we got a loud and proud GKU member. Jeff Attinella is back, taking a break from slanging some Fire Flames merch with Smack Apparel to hit us with some hot takes this week. It's always great to see you. Your question, as the resident Tampa Bay fan, all things Tampa Bay sports is what you're all about. What is a realistic expectation for the Bucks this season?
Oh, well, if you'd have asked me that before the game yesterday, I probably would have said about 6 wins. But now I'm probably thinking 9 to 10, win the division, probably at least host a playoff game at least.
Yeah, outside
And
shot at the
yeah,
Super Bowl. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. I mean, I don't know, but maybe the defense looked pretty good. I don't know about Super Bowl, but definitely take the division. I think double-digit wins is an easy one. Like that should be easy now. I don't see a loss in our schedule for quite some time after yesterday's win. So yeah, optimism for the old Bucks is pretty high right now.
All right, fair enough. Definitely a loss coming next weekend. But
But
the
you
reason
definitely
I
got me on a
asked,
Monday. You got me on a Monday off of a win,
it's
which
true,
in the
exactly.
NFL, that's like the optimism, the win-loss optimism goes through the roof.
I mean, especially after week one, no less. So yeah, your red rocket is absolutely rocketing at the moment. The reason I asked, by the way, is because I got Baker Mayfield in fantasy, and I'm not like I didn't start him this week, and I was like, am I actually going to play him? Like, do you think he's actually going to put up points this year?
No, I think he's
Okay.
going to be he's going to manage. He's going to be a manager of the game. Like I don't think, yeah, they're not going to be asking him to win any fantasy duels. They're going to be just don't turn the ball over in Canassus, please.
Sure, game manager. Okay, so your red rocket is a qualified, under control red rocket at this point. I like that.
But if they beat Chicago, which they probably will, then I'm going to be off the charts.
Oh man, Chicago. As a Packers fan, like that game last night had to have been the most devastating loss for Chicago Bears fans. Like they've finally, after all these years, Favre's gone, Aaron Rodgers is gone, the bad man has finally left town, and you still end up losing to Green Bay. God, that's got to be tough. I did text, a lot of my Bear fan friends, just once, but man, I felt so bad that I like almost didn't even send them that one text. Feels good though.
It's the fact that they think they have a better quarterback and they still lost and he didn't look better, which is the
Yeah,
real thing that makes it. I mean, I can
that's
go on and on in this, but we want to stick to football, or we
yeah.
want to stick to football.
We'll stick to football,
We'll stick to football.
the footy kind. All right, we'll go to headlines. So Ballon d'Or short list, which is a pretty long list for a short list, is out. Nominees, I think it was 30 from the men's and women's side. The women's sounds like it's pretty cut and dried with Aitana Bonmati from Barcelona. Sounds like she's probably got it wrapped up. Worth noting, though, that there was only one U.S. women's team player on the list was Sophia Smith. I would say that had Mallory Swanson, not gotten hurt, she should have and would have been on that list, I think. But still, it's kind of worth noting. It's worth noting that there were only one and would have been maybe two on the list. That's not good for 30. We got some work to do to get ourselves back in the mix on the women's side. On the men's side, yeah, of course we had none. So I guess it's all relative. But question for you, Jeff. Two questions actually. Who would you vote for to win the men's Ballon d'Or? And then who do you think is going to win? Two different questions.
I will answer the same because I think that it's Messi, and I think that it's going to be him based off of the fact that he won the World Cup and just kind of everything that's going on. And this will be the last time, right? This is the last time that he's going to win it or have a chance to win it, realistically. So I think that it kind of plays into not politics, because I do think he deserves it for what he's been able to do, obviously, in his career and what he did. But just leaning into the fact that they won the World Cup and just kind of cementing the legacy that he was able to create outside of the MLS. I think it all just kind of comes full circle with this last one, and then you just kind of put a stamp on it and move on to the next people, move on to the next cycle of players that are going to be coming through and winning this award all the time. But I think it's the last one that he's going to win.
Okay, it's obviously the other argument there, and you make a strong case, right? And Messi has a strong case. When you win the World Cup and you are that guy on the World Cup winning team, it's like 97% chance that you're going to win the World Cup. The issue here is that Erling Haaland had an incredible season and Manchester City won the treble. So, Mitch, where are you going with this?
I don't have anything contrary, unfortunately. I'm voting for Messi, and I think he's winning it for a lot of the reasons that Jeff said. But also, this feels like a fitting award for him in this World Cup year. Erling Haaland will win multiple Ballon d'Ors in his career. That I think we can all kind of say with some level of confidence. But the award is for the best footballer in the world. And if you take away accomplishments, you take away, what team they're on and the competition, Lionel Messi is a better footballer than Erling Haaland. He can do more with a football. He is technically not tactically, but he is technically better than just about anybody in the world. And it just feels like a more deserving individual award to be given to Messi. Erling Haaland is a product of the incredible team that he's on. And is he one of the best players on that team? Yeah, absolutely. But this is an individual award. This is not given to Manchester City, who won the treble. This is given to a player, and that player is Messi.
Fair. That's fair. I mean, listen, Erling Haaland put up stats that were just sort of ridiculous, right? I mean, that was ridiculous. For his first season in the Premier League.
Disappeared in finals, though.
Shots fired.
Big games. Not say that he didn't have an impact.
Getting spicy early.
A little bit.
Sure. But not to say that he didn't have an impact, because he's taking attention away from other players that deserve it. Rodri's goal was a product of Haaland being double marked, but didn't show up in a couple of finals. Champions League final being one of them, FA Cup final being another. Just no goals, no assists, didn't show up. He will later in his career. Like I said, he has a long career ahead of him of excellence, I'm assuming. But this is an individual award. Messi showed up in those few moments.
Fair enough. It'll be interesting to see. Like Jeff mentioned, we're sort of turning page here. And I do think that, first of all, Ronaldo didn't make the short list. So that's sort of a changing of the guard, half the guard right there.
Can I mention one thing that you mentioned earlier? This is not a short list, by the way. It's
right, 30.
This is a full squad plus subs plus reserves. There's nothing short about a Ballon d'Or short list. It feels like they just
30. When is that?
I don't know. But like, is anybody selecting from 20 of these players? Like, good ball players, but I don't know. It's a short list. Feels like a funny term for this. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like the Herman Trophy back in the college days. They put out the short list. It's 100 people.
Yeah. Like, how are you supposed to narrow that?
It's one of those things where it's just like there's nobody pushing back on the number of names on the list, and the more people that are on the list, that sort of gives the players and their agents and their teams a little bit of extra street cred or whatever. So it's just going to get bigger. It's probably going to be 40 names and then 50. Who knows? So it's up to us, the fans, to call them out on it. By the way,
but for a guy like Colomwani to make this short list, is that not so cool to be like, yeah, I made the Ballon d'Or short list last year. Did I get nominated? Yep. Did I win it? No. Am I ever going to win it? But I made the Ballon d'Or short list. That's awesome. I love that for him.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I do think it's a little ridiculous when you got guys like Onana, goalkeeper. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Come on.
Should have been Turner.
It should have been Turner. I'm glad you pointed that out. But yeah, we'll see what happens next year when so Ronaldo is off and gone in Saudi Arabia. You assume that Messi probably isn't going to get the kind of love that he's getting now, because when he's do fully MLS'd, he probably won't get much love from the French Football Federation or whoever puts this list together. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Are we on to the Mbappe Haaland era? I don't know who else is out there. Lewandowski, could he sneak in and maybe get the one that he was cheated out of from a few years ago? Probably not. Seems like he's on the back end. But anyway, well, that's another conversation for another time. We'll move on in headlines. Just a quick one. Gregg Berhalter is, of course, in the headlines because the U.S. men's national team is playing, and people are obsessed with, taking anything he says and hating on it and hating on him and hating on U.S. soccer. And of course, they did, their usual shtick on Twitter this week, so he did a little Instagram promo for the U.S. soccer or whoever. He mentioned that he had an 8-year plan. That was all. That was like the whole thing. So the conspiracy theorists and wackadoodles and just blind Berhalter haters, of course, took this as like a green light to run with, this being an accidental admission, that his hire the second time around was a farce, and he actually was hired for 8 years the first time around, and blah, 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 blah. I just want people to take a moment and breathe. I'm not going to tell you to touch grass. I would say that, but just breathe. The hate for everything related to Berhalter at this point is so beyond nonsensical and ridiculous. I honestly can't even go on Twitter when the U.S. men's national team is playing. I stay away from Twitter. I just can't. I don't know if I've become old. I just suddenly became old. Yeah, just a little bit. I know, probably a lot, but I just can't deal. I can't deal with it. I cannot deal with Twitter at the moment. If you guys want anything to add anything to this, you're welcome to it. I think we can, I don't know, just move on. I just wanted to get that off my chest. Jeff, you look like you got something to say.
Well, first off, I love volatile U.S. men's national team Twitter. It is a delight. The takes, the things that are firing off in there. You gotta love. I mean,
it's unhinged. It is unhinged, and you're right.
It's unhinged.
You're right. It's a good thing because it shows how many people care and the fact they care and all this. This was what I was looking forward to a decade ago. And now it's here, and I fucking hate it.
It's off the rails. It's off the rails. But I also think so. Oh, man. How can I phrase this? I think that U.S. soccer, in the hiring of Gregg Berhalter originally, sets themselves up for immediate criticism, right? We all know who does the hiring, who makes decisions, right? So you set yourself up for scrutiny from the get-go. And I also think that if there is an 8-year plan in place, right, the stuff that happened with Gio Reyna, all that stuff that happened, if there was an 8-year plan in place, you kind of have to go through that process of, if it is a farce, you kind of have to go through the process of oh, we're going to do some evaluating and figure out if this really is the right move. But if there really legitimately was an 8-year plan in place, I think that makes a lot of sense, because if you look at the roster, you look at the team, you look at the situation, everything about U.S. soccer has been gearing up for this World Cup that they're hosting. Everything about U.S. soccer. They want the MLS to be one of the biggest leagues in the world by the time the World Cup rolls around. They want everything to be in place by the time this World Cup rolls around. The only way you do that is by getting your unit for that World Cup ready and giving them the experience of playing in another World Cup. That's the only way it happens. So if it was an 8-year plan, I actually think that that's a good thing because it just tells you what they're gearing up for. And we didn't have a roster. We don't have the roster that would have won the last World Cup. It's just not the reality is it wasn't there. So people should be excited about the fact that if this is a long-term play and this has been in place, then you have to watch it. This was their plan. This was the play. And now we have to see how it all comes together because this is how they're putting all their cards on the table. And that's what they've done. And now we're about to find out.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's how I view it.
You know, 100%. I think that at a certain point, you would be first of all, the haters would hate on Gregg if he didn't have a plan, if he didn't have a vision, right? And so now they're hating on him because he had that vision. It's just ridiculous. And all I've heard about, Berhalter is that he's a meticulous kind of planner and all this. So of course he's, whether he was actually going to stick around or, whether U.S. soccer thought he was going to be around for another cycle is obviously a different question. If he didn't have a plan for that contingency, then that's kind of like, that would be a bad reflection of him as a manager and everything. So it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
I started off the podcast by obviously talking about the Bucks winning 10 games, which is most likely unrealistic expectations. So I understand unrealistic expectations of sports fans, but you have to have realistic expectations of what your team is and what your team's capable of. We weren't going to win the last World Cup. We wanted to see a team that was competitive. We wanted to see a team that could play, that could step up their game in terms of not sitting back and countering and just kind of being one of those teams that fights their way to making a run in the tournament. Being a team that really wants to play because we have all these players that are playing on an international level. The next World Cup, if everything comes together and the players are right, there's a chance we could make a legitimate run on our home soil, which would change the landscape of U.S. soccer for the rest of our entire lives for generations to come. So I like knowing that there's a plan in place with a person that has led this group to a World Cup. And you have to hope that the faith is right in this person and in this group, and they're able to put it all together and make a run when it matters the most, which is going to be this next one.
Let's get it. I'm excited already. All right. Now we got a whole bunch of coaching, personnel moves here to run through quickly. First, Spain continues to be just, an absolute clown show. The coach, Vilda, 3 weeks removed from winning the World Cup, was sent packing. So that's an interesting move. Jenny Hermoso, the star who was, kissed in front of the entire world. She officially filed charges, I think, against the at the time the suspended Federation president, Rubiales, who finally, mercifully, after however many weeks of, being under fire from almost everybody on the planet, except for maybe the coach Vilda, he finally went from being suspended to resigning, which is interesting. It officially makes him a liar because he said in that speech, I am not going to resign about 7 times and said it very clearly. You lied because you resigned. And yeah, I said, and we've talked about this in the past, like, I don't really even want to talk about this anymore. The fact that we're still talking about this, clown show at the Federation is taking away from the fact that the Spanish women deservedly won the World Cup and they deserve a lot of credit and praise. So let's focus on that and not get too bogged down on the whatever else is going on at the Federation. Also, Bruce Arena. So this was interesting. We've sort of been waiting for this. Like, what's happening? It was like he got suspended like a month and a half ago. And there had been like zero, almost no, not a peep from MLS or the Revolution since that initial announcement of the suspension late on Friday. Talk about it was maybe Saturday. It was a late announcement, whenever it was on the weekend, saying, Bruce Arena is resigning. And the statements made by the MLS, by Revolution, by Arena himself were all incredibly vague about what exactly has gone on, what the investigation was all about. It's a very, very strange situation. Mitch, do you have any sort of thoughts based on what little we know at this point?
Yeah. They announced it at a strange time, right after the 1-1 draw with Minnesota over the weekend, where they conceded a goalkeeper assist. Shout out GKU, I suppose.
There it is.
But but
You could
yeah,
do it
I think
all.
extremely vague is the best summary of the situation so far. I don't know. I Through every personal account, Bruce Arena, from player to coaching staff, to anybody that knows him, people have given glowing reviews of his character. I'm not going to sit here and speculate as to what the situation was or what he said or what he meant by what he said. But it does seem like it was a bit of a drawn out process. Maybe at the end of the investigation, they came to the conclusion and said, or they came to the conclusion he had said something that was inappropriate. Those are the words they used originally, that he had made inappropriate comments. So I'm assuming that investigation came to a conclusion. They had concluded that he had said something inappropriate. And for a long-term coaching veteran like himself, they gave him two options. They said, we can fire you publicly, or you can resign in semi-good grace and kind of step away of your own accord. And that feels like this, but again, I really don't know. I don't take any of this as fact. Interim head coach and Carlos Heel have a press conference tomorrow, which would be Tuesday the 12th. And I'm sure they might provide insight there or a little more information, but really, like, we don't have much to go on right now. And it's weird. Bruce Arena has brought success to my hometown New England Revolution. I've really enjoyed watching his teams. So this is a strange end to that chapter.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on that I'll add. But Jeff, anything coming to mind, or did you hear anything from anybody about what I don't know, may have happened here?
No, I mean, I don't know Bruce Arena. I don't know him at all. Like I never really. We shook hands once after a game. That's all I really know of him. But from all accounts, I mean, everybody that I've ever talked to that's played for him has loved playing for him. So there needs to be we need to hear more about the story. We need to know if we get that information, then we'll be able to I think everybody will be able to know a little bit more about about what's going on and everything that happened. But I think it's kind of been shocking to everybody just because you don't really ever hear anything bad about him. By all accounts, he's a good coach. Guys like playing for him. I know anyone that's spent time in the locker room with him has always enjoyed him. So I mean, until you know more, then that's all you can really go on, I guess.
There's one aspect to this situation that I will point out because it is extra weird. And that is all the stories, The Athletic and whoever else was writing about this, they pointed out that one of the official complaints, or maybe multiple of the official complaints that were lodged against Arena came from his assistant coach, Richie Williams, who is now the interim manager. Now, this relationship between Arena and Richie Williams has gone on for decades. He played for him. He was assistant coach under him. Like, Arena has basically sort of brought him along this whole time. And for now, Williams to be filing complaints about a guy that it sounds like, to be honest, everybody seems to like. I've talked to Mike McGee. I know that Showery Joseph, who is still on staff at Revolution, he's the academy coach. He's a first team assistant. He's a club legend from, playing there. He put out a pretty clear tweet in support of Bruce Arena saying, I don't know exactly what it said, but basically he said, he's had a nothing but fantastic, career playing with and coaching with Bruce Arena. Like, to then have this guy who's been with Arena for decades come out and be part of I don't know, I don't want to call it an insurrection, but like this part of this, whatever, if it's a group or if it's maybe just him going after Arena, that's so strange to me. So strange. I can't wrap my head around it. I don't want to start throwing accusations about Williams because I don't know. But man, that is just
feels weird.
Yeah, it feels like rat-like behavior, and I don't want to call him a rat. I'm just saying it just feels weird. Just feels very weird. And hopefully we learn more. hopefully we learn more. I don't know what else to say beyond that at this point. It seems so weird, and I can't wrap my head around it. Okay.
I think that just kind of last thing I want to say on this is you hope that it's something that doesn't hurt the legacy, right? Because he's a legend. He's a U.S. soccer legend, and so hopefully, when we do find out more information, that it's something that doesn't hurt the reputation, like that doesn't really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We gotta learn more, but he's a legend. He's a U.S. soccer legend. He's a big face of U.S. soccer, which
we need some answers.
You don't want it to hurt. You don't want it to hurt that.
100%. So, from now on or from here, we'll just sort of wait and hopefully we learn more. I guess we'll leave it at that. Lastly, Hansi Flick was fired as the German national team manager after losing 4 of 5 games. And as Mitch pointed out right before we hopped on the podcast, this is the first time that a German men's national team manager has ever been fired since they made the position in 1926. We're
That's
almost
insane.
100 years in. This is the first time a German men's team manager has been fired. I can't wrap my head around this. Is the second straight headline where my mind has been completely blown on. I don't know exactly why that is. Like maybe the managers and the federation always had kind of some sort of handshake agreement that when the time comes, you'll just sort of step away, quietly or whatever. And then Hansi Flick is like, nah, I'm not stepping away. You guys got to pay me. You guys got to pay me this money. I don't know what the situation is. I do know that losing 4 out of 5 for a German team is, that's unacceptable. So yeah, I guess it'll be interesting to see where we go from here. Maybe Herr Klopp is on his way over there. They got a little while to figure it out before the Euros, but that's going to be coming up soon. All right, let's go to Weekly What If. We will talk about Mo Salah here. So let's say this is in this hypothetical universe that we're creating for ourselves. Let's say you, Mitchell Goulet, you are the technical director for Liverpool Football Club. And a unnamed Saudi club, even though I think the name of it actually is available, an unnamed Saudi club comes to you and says, we will pay you $215 million for Mohamed Salah. What's your answer on that one?
That's such an unfathomable price tag for a footballer. I really have a tough time wrapping my head around that.
Three
clearly money is no object to them, so I would say that number needs to have a 3 in front of it for me to really kind of consider this coming across my desk. No, I don't think. I think I could probably get them up to like 250 realistically, because like I said, money is no object to them. If they're throwing around 215 million pounds on Mo Salah, like they very clearly want to buy the best talent in the world. I'm going to let them, but I'm also going to get rich by doing it. Yes, I'm saying yes.
You're taking that money.
Mo Salah,
you're trying to boost the price tag, but you're taking that money.
I'm bargaining them, or I'm negotiating up with them, but I am taking that money. Mohamed Salah is, and I can say this so like comfortably unbiased because I'm not a Liverpool fan. If you asked me about Gabriel Martinelli and they said we'll give you 150 mil for him, this would be a different argument. But Mohamed Salah is a Liverpool legend. He has done just about everything he can at the club. And when I say can, I mean, like, is he going to lead them to a league title in the next 3 years? No, probably not. Just based on the teams in the league right now, and where he is in his career, Mohamed Salah has given his all to Liverpool Football Club, and Liverpool Football Club, for the size of club they are, has not spent the money that can be comparable to a Chelsea, a United, a City, an Arsenal in the past 5 years, call it. An influx of $200+ million would change the face of this team. You could go buy 3 more Mo Salahs. 2 of them aren't going to work out. One of them is. I really think that is club-changing money. 215 250 if I'm negotiating it £1,000,000. I'm saying yes almost immediately.
Okay.
That's a good deal. That
Now,
is a good deal.
not to correct you, just to clarify, it's 215 million US dollars. So it's, a little bit less
Okay.
in
All right.
pounds, but I mean, still
After
215.
taxes,
Yeah.
okay, fair.
Yeah. In
Fair.
this economy,
Still a fuck ton of money.
No, it's still a large chunk of change. So Jeff or Mitch is an absolute yes, even though he's going to try and barter him up a little bit. Jeff, what's your answer?
I think driving the price up is always a good idea, but I think you got it. In this situation, I kind of think the player has to be okay with it as well. I would try. If he wants to go, then I would be more open to it. Just because the amount of money that you're able to get in return and all that good stuff. But like you said, it's a lot of money that you could bring. It's a lot of money you could bring in. You could reshape the face of your team if you wanted to. But from an ex-player perspective, that type of move, I think that pending player approval, then I think that that's a move that you should make.
I don't disagree. I mean, 200 and whatever million, 31. I didn't say it because I didn't want to, prejudice the jury, but we're talking about 31-year-old Mo Salah, right? We're not talking about 25-year-old Mo Salah. We're talking 31-year-old Mo Salah.
I think the MLS should package something up, give him a little something spicy.
I like it.
You think we can compete with 250?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think we can. After that Messi money's out there, I think we're, Garber's now he's scratching, the behind the couch.
Yeah, but that Messi money builds upon itself. That's an
will.
investment.
It will.
In
right. 3 and 4
years, we'll be able to pony up that much. But in 3 and 4 years, they'll be able to pay, 500 mil over in Saudi. So it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You did mention 31 years old. Is he not the best winger in the Premier League right now, though? He's 31, sure. Is he on the back nine of his career? Maybe just getting over that, just rounding the turn there, but still the best winger in the league.
He's still a hell of a player. I don't mean to say 31 is like he's not bringing it anymore. He absolutely is. But
it's a pertinent piece of information in this deal.
How many more years is he going to be bringing that? Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right. I think we're also actually, you know what I was going to add to that is I actually think Liverpool probably did the right thing here. So they got blindsided by this ridiculous offer from Saudis. If Mo Salah wants to go, they should let him go in January when they've had, several months to evaluate where they want to put that money to work. I think that you can't sell him right now. You could not do that. You can't just come and sell. If you're Liverpool and you sell essentially your best player, you can't do that without bringing somebody else in or multiple players, especially when you're getting 215 million. You can't do that. You can't sell them at the end of the window when you can't bring somebody else in. I mean, this is the Premier League, right? I mean, you say they're not fighting for titles. They would say they're fighting for titles. I say they're fighting for top four. That's important. And, they whether they win the title or not, who knows? But I still think that not this season since they're not in it, but they've a very good chance to win a European trophy. They're not going to win Champions League this year. But maybe next year. Then they have the pedigree to win the Champions League and not the Premier League, right? They've done that before. So I do actually think I'll give Liverpool some credit here. I think they did the right thing by basically pushing it out till January. And if Mo Salah then decides he wants to go, you take that money. You absolutely take that money. You gotta. Okay, we'll move on. So normally this would be Premier League time, but because it's an international break, we will go through the U.S. men's national team. So the game against Uzbekistan was, let's be honest, a bit of a snoozer. Nobody was really sort of blown away by that game. We ended up winning 3-0, which, wow, that scoreline does not exactly tell the story. As somebody speaking weekly what if, let's stay in the hypothetical realm. Let's say somebody, unnamed person, parlayed US to win and over 2.5. They would be very happy with that result. Very, very happy. But in no way, shape, or form did they deserve to win that bet. Not me, but just somebody out there. But yeah, so Jeff, what was your takeaway, from the game? What stood out? What did you come away from the game thinking?
Just that it was a friend. There was a friendly versus Uzbekistan during a kind of an odd international break in the schedule where it was just like, I mean, it just felt lackluster, right? Like everything around it just felt lackluster. The build up to the game was lackluster in terms of the attention the game was getting. The atmosphere was lackluster, and so was the performance. So I think that, I think that as you want to see that team coming together and playing at their top level every time that they get on the field, right? Because as fans, it's like, all right, we only get so many opportunities to watch this national team come together and play these games, obviously, because you need the international windows, all these different things. But to me, it just felt like a game that you got a group of guys coming together that were probably wondering why Uzbekistan is on the schedule. And, they come back and the crowd's not there. And it just all felt very lackluster. That's just how I felt about it. Like everything around the whole thing, the performance, probably the mentality a little bit. Obviously, you had Berhalter coming back, which I don't know if that should have been more motivating. I don't know. But to me, that's just the best way that I could describe the entire experience of what that game was.
Yeah, I think lackluster is fair. Mitch, what about you?
Yeah, lackluster is a good word to describe it. The comment from Gregg pregame or a couple days before the game that St. Louis was the soccer capital of America. You can't just say those things. Like I know those are, St. Louis is a footballing city. I know people really, really deeply care about their football there. And shout out Tim Parker. St. Louis is flying in MLS right now. But 20,000 people for an international friendly does not scream soccer capital of America to me. I don't know what city that is, but it's sure as hell not St. Louis after that performance. What happened on the field though was like, yeah, it was all right. So friendly against Uzbekistan. I think we would be doing a disservice if we read too much into it and really like analyze people's performances and say, oh, Balogun should have scored in the first half or Pepe should be starting because he had that beautiful hit. Like none of those things are absolutes or like thoughts that any rational fan should be having. But I think we took care of business. I agree with what you said earlier, Sam, that 3-0 scoreline does not reflect what that game was. Uzbekistan probably should have had one, maybe two. And I think we could have been cleaner in the final third. But all in all, like the takeaway from this is that the value in these international breaks is the guys playing together in these camps. That roster, this current international roster, is largely who we will see in 2026. The reps and the minutes that they are getting training together under Berhalter is valuable. That's where this value in this international window comes. Not in the results, not in who scored, not in how many minutes people played. It's the training in the camps. So that's my only takeaway.
Yeah, that's fair. You said we should have or could have given up a couple goals. Well, first of all, Tim Ream handed them a goal on a silver platter, and Matt Turner saved his bacon. Matt Turner was, definitely the man of the match. It's not GKU, by the way, when it's your goalkeeper. Let's make sure that's clear. So I'm not giving the GKU a compliment there. I'm going to defend St. Louis really quick. Are they the soccer capital of the world? I mean, or of the U.S. I mean, that's obviously very arguable at this point. What I'll say is that they are America's soccer breadbasket. How about that? Because anybody who has been following soccer in the U.S. for more than, say, 5 years realizes the importance of St. Louis to soccer in America and specifically the national team over the years. Like you can now argue that maybe New Jersey may have taken over that little Tommy's not here and Tyler aren't here to tell us that, but they would probably argue that New Jersey is taken over that. If anybody else had said it was the soccer capital of the U.S., nobody would have given a shit. But since Berhalter said it, everybody was fucking up in arms, which is, again, just another one of those things. The game was lackluster. I think that's pretty much what I came away for. I was looking forward to, seeing a little bit more from our attacking unit. I was hoping to see Pulisic specifically. I thought I was really sort of thinking that he and Balogun and maybe Weah, whoever they'd be a little bit more dynamic. Just whatever. It looked like a friendly, and they weren't at their peak form. It was great to see Pepe score a nice goal. That was good. I think that he is in the mix for a starting role. And I know that people don't want to hear that. They think that Balogun is like head and shoulders above everybody else in our, striking unit. But I don't know that that's the case. I think Pepe is right there, pushing for a spot. Defense was whatever. I mean, it's Uzbekistan. What the hell are we going to say about this defense other than, the huge, brain fart from Ream when he gave them, the real short back pass that gave him a breakaway. Yeah, it was just, I don't know. It was nothing to write home about. And, some people may have squeaked out a completely undeserved win in their, parlay of over 2.5 in US to win. Other than that, there was literally nothing else that like stood out to me. I was just like, what stands out here? Nothing. Like, if there's one thing that I guess did stand out, or we could talk about quickly, is that there's a lot of people get on Berhalter about the team just seeming kind of not as dynamic under him, right? Offensively going forward. We saw some glimpses of it under Callahan where the guys were buzzing and they're going, but they were playing like St. Kitts and St. Nevis, which I think people seem to forget, in these type of discussions. Is there an element of maybe like Berhalter just being so meticulous and so sort of like, wanting people to be here and make these runs? I am concerned that it is having a little bit of a, I don't know, dampening effect on sort of how creative and dynamic we are going forward. I don't know, Mitch, what do you think? Is there an element of truth to that, or is it just the haters being haters?
No, I think there is an element of truth to that because that is how Gregg wants to play ball. If he were to let the dogs loose and say, Pulisic and Weah, run at those outside backs and do your absolute best to embarrass the hell out of them every time you touch the ball, that is a strategy, and that works against Uzbekistan and would against Oman. But the reps that it takes to drill that into a team, so when we play the Netherlands again, when we play England, when we play France, Brazil, that we can be disciplined in how we all want to and know we should be playing, that like we can't get into a skill battle with those teams because we don't have the individual talent to beat the top 10 15 countries in the world with that style. You have to implement it against teams like Uzbekistan. And does it look unpolished at times? Sure. Does it look a little laissez-faire in the final third at times? Yeah, it does. When we know that, like, okay, well, Weah could just chop up two of these dudes and dance his way into the box. We saw Yedlin do it, just like little turn and found acres of space for him to move forward into. He didn't get a shot off, but like it was a beautiful, beautiful run. We can do that against these guys. That's not what we're out here trying to prove in this international window. We're trying to kind of learn to play together and all under the same style. And I think that's just all this game was. That we have the capability to play that really exciting style of football, but that is not what we as the collective U.S. men's national team have decided that we are going to go forward with this lovely 8-year plan that we all love and trust. That's just not how we've decided to do things. And so that's what this international window is, and the next one, and the next one. It's all reps. It's all reps.
I will say, I know that this is a goalkeeper hating world, right?
World.
I know
world. I like the world. Yeah, let's go with world.
Yeah, the world that I'm into. Whenever I come onto this show, it's very anti my people. But we need to really, really appreciate the fact that come the next World Cup, we're gonna have one of the best goalkeepers in the world in the net. And that's the truth. Like if you're watching Turner's trajectory and what he's doing in the Premier League right now, and the fact that he literally only gets better every single time that he steps onto the field, you're seeing that with the national team now all the time. All the time. And that's an important, I know you guys don't care, but that's an important part of having a very successful team, is knowing that you have a guy that is just going to be lights out when you need him to be. And he gets better every time he steps on the field.
Jeff, not to put you on the spot, but can I ask you, as a keeper, what areas, like specifically, have you seen Matt Turner improve in the past, call it 3 years? And like where, like just how excellent he is at a couple of those goalkeeping areas?
I mean, his situational awareness coming off his line is like spot on. His shot stopping has always been great, but I mean, he does it in a way that makes me nervous a little bit when I watch it just because the technique, but his feet and his distribution are all money. Like that was
Yeah.
like the thing that people were hung up on him about was, oh, can he play possession? Can he play with his feet? If you watch his decision making when he's put under pressure with his feet and when he's forced to make distribution, you know what I mean? Like whether it's long, whether it's play short, he's insanely accurate. He's quick with his decisions. He starts the counterattacks. Like he does all of those things that I think initially in the Berhalter system, they wanted someone that just has the ball and he sprays it left and right and he keeps the ball and it's all pretty, right? It's all this like pretty type of possession that some coaches want goalkeepers to play now. But he's a give me the ball. I'm gonna get it. If I throw it and I see somebody that I can start the attack, I'm gonna throw it quick and I'm gonna start the attack. If I can connect the long ball, I'm gonna connect. And it just gets better every single time that we see him play. So he's turning into one of the more well-rounded goalkeepers in the world. You're watching him do it in the EPL now. So it's one of those cool things that I think, even though we don't like goalkeepers, just keep an eye on it because it's pretty sweet what he's doing. And he's not staying the same. Like his level isn't the same. He is continually getting better,
Yeah.
which is the coolest part about it.
Fair. I mean, he's
Sorry,
getting.
Sam.
No,
I apologize, Sam.
That is okay. That is okay. We accept it when we're talking about our goalkeeper. Okay, and Matt Keeper is our goalkeeper, so it's totally fine in that context. And that's fair. I'm glad and listen, that's your expertise. I'm glad we got your thoughts on it. Oman.
We got it out of the way. Got it out of the way.
That's right. No more talk about GK though from here on out. No, the Oman game. So we got Tuesday night, Oman. You know, I don't know. It's before we even get into the game, it feels like a lackluster experience, like just going into it, right? But any changes you want to see, Mitch, or any thoughts on sort of what we should look for here?
I was happy to see Luca Del Torre, upset that he broke his nose. Feel like he still could have played, but I don't know. Maybe you don't chance that in a friendly against Uzbekistan. Who knows? Yeah, I think we'll see Kremeneski there. I think we'll see. We saw. Oh no, sorry. We saw Christopher Lund make his debut against Uzbekistan. Happy for him. We'll probably see him start. This is not a game that you're going to see Christian Pulisic play a lot or Timothy Weah. This is going to be even more of a friendly than the Uzbekistan one. But I think if we play the right way and we take our chances when they come, I think we'll be all right.
And by the way, so speaking of Matt Turner, we talked about him on the field, off the field. So he's about to have a second kid. So he's not going to be at this game. I assume that means Horvath will probably get the start. His fellow tricky tree. So yeah. Number one, I said it before last game. The first thing I'm looking for, no injuries. No injuries. Broken nose is bad, and Luca Del Torre might hurt his game, on Tinder or something. But that's not something that's going to keep him out for too long.
My friend broke my nose in college. Immediate conversation starter. I got laid that weekend.
Have you gotten laid since? Do you need another broken nose?
I can still hang my hat on that story. So
we got to break it. We got to break the nose.
That's right. Well, now we know the trick. Break it. So I'm saying the same thing I said before the Uzbekistan game, and it didn't really come true. But like prediction or sort of what I'd like to see. I mean, we should win by multiple goals. Like this is a team that we should absolutely, even though a friendly, we should win by multiple goals. We won by 3, and that was very underwhelming against Uzbekistan. We could win by 2 and be far better performance this time around, and hopefully we'll see that. I just like to see more connection up top. Just let's see some better. I know these guys don't play together every week, right? It is tough, but let's just see a little something.
Can I bring in some breaking news?
Yeah, hit us with it.
Because I've been on my phone. We talked football at first, so I just have to say this out loud. Aaron Rodgers just got carted off in his first series with the Jets.
Holy shit.
For
No.
series?
First series.
What do you do?
Leg injury.
Jesus. Tyler's at
Maybe
All
the
right, sorry.
Tyler.
I had to express it because I'm looking at my phone. I got the game on. I just had to express it how insane that is that just happened.
Wow. Tyler's at the game right now. Tyler's a Jets fan. He's
Huh.
at the game.
You got to get him on.
Oh man, that stinks. I like people kept a lot of Jets fans, strangely enough, reached out to me and was like, how do you think Rodgers is gonna do it? And I was like, I think he's gonna be probably really good for half of the season, and he's probably gonna wear down and get hurt. He's an old guy at this point. Man,
Oh
first
man. All
game.
right. Sorry. Oh, he came back. Wait.
Oh,
No, he's limping. Nope. Locker room. Locker room.
oh,
Unbelievable. All right. Sorry.
that's
Back
a
to the
good breaking
football.
news. That's a good breaking news. We gotta,
It was.
we
I'm
gotta
flustered. I'm very, very flustered over here.
let's get our head back in the game here. We're gonna get back to we're gonna get everybody's head back in the game because that's what happens at the end of an international break. You got to sort of refocus. Get your mind back, center your chi, and that's what we're about to do here with the Premier League. Premier League is back. So let's talk a little bit about it. I know that one of the things that I've gotten away from a little bit, and I want to get back into it, is sort of previewing the weekends as opposed to spending too much time recapping games. I think it's better to look forward. So let's look forward to the games in front of us this weekend. And I'll start with you, Mitch. What game are you most looking forward to? And there's some things I want to get to, but I'll wrap that in with our weekly preview. So what are you looking forward to?
Sure. I mentioned one before we started recording that Chelsea Bournemouth is really going to be a test of just how low that rock bottom gets for Chelsea fans. We will see. For your sake, I hope you get 3 points from this one. It should be a win, but you never know with Chelsea. But my actual answer,
because if they don't get 3 points from this game,
because if they don't, then
goodness.
I don't see another 3 points on their schedule for a very, very long time.
Like Santa is coming around.
Yeah, that like we're gonna see 2024 and Chelsea might have, single digit points in the league. That it's that bleak a future if they continue with that trajectory. So for their sake, I hope they turn it around.
You think they'll be
the one I'm actually interested in fair. The one I'm actually interested in is United Brighton. I think United are playing real well right now. They are having some tumultuous news stories off the field, but on the field, I think they and Brighton match up. That's just an exciting game. It's a good kit clash as well. I know Mikey would appreciate some blue on some red. I hope that's what we get. Just a good old fashioned blue v red game. But that's the one I'm looking forward to most watching as a neutral. And then of course Arsenal Everton got to be at least 2, if not 3 goal win.
Yeah, that's got to be a win for you guys. Although we'll get to Everton first. We got to talk about Manchester United. So yep. This club is, it seemed like I really thought Ten Hag was sort of, turning the page, and they still have some, roster moves to make and everything. I don't know if this is Ten Hag's fault in any way, shape, or form, but man, this club is they're in dire straits at the moment. So, everybody knows about Mason Greenwood, the story there. They did belatedly do the right thing and got rid of him. Now it's just right back into the same shit. So there's the Jadon Sancho situation, which we've talked about in the past. Ten Hag, okay, I was saying maybe some of the situation is not Ten Hag's fault. Throwing Jadon Sancho under the bus as publicly as he did was absolutely something he could have decided not to do, and he did.
Crazy move to the
right. That situation is 100% on him, or at least partially. Jadon Sancho, whether he's going to stay with the club or he's going to go to, Saudi Arabia or whatever, who knows? Now we mentioned very briefly last week, Antony had been, accused of whatever, sexual assault or something by one woman. It's now up to 3 women three women are accusing him of sexual whatever. And, one, he's come out publicly and sort of denied, just said straight up denied, like, I'll show you he was talking about, he's got, the WhatsApp or whatever app he's using back and forth with him and the woman who came into town. He put her up at a hotel. Allegedly, they had, consensual relations. And then that was pretty much it, according to him. According to her, it was very much not it. And, things have spiraled from there. There's two other women, including an ex-girlfriend, who are accusing him of various things. So he is now taking a leave of absence from the team. He was, essentially sent home by the Brazilian national team, or at least, it said he was not going to play. Now he's more or less suspended with pay by Manchester United. That situation obviously has the potential to be, Mason Greenwood 2.0, if not even worse, since it's a multiple potential offenses. So, man, this team, I don't know. Jeff, is this what are your thoughts on United? Are they like a ticking time bomb? Can they figure this out? I mean, like, I have belief in Ten Hag and what he can do with the roster, what he can do with the team, but this is just not a good situation.
I kind of think they're too big to they're almost too big to destroy, right? I think that it's a organization and a club that it's bigger than the stories, and that they have the resources to make sure that it's always going to be okay. But of course, like everything you're saying, it's not good. Like it's not in a good spot to be in. So I don't know. I mean, I don't see this being the demise of the entire, package that is Manchester United. But it's not a fun time to be cheering for him. That's for sure.
And we haven't even mentioned the fact that, like, the situation with ownership is, basically back to square one now. So the rumors coming out, there was all this talk about, the Glazers finally selling for whatever, the third or fourth time allegedly. Now it sounds like they're not selling. And, the Manchester United, so they're a publicly traded company, by the way, their stock price immediately went in the tank.
In the 24 hours after they announced that they are not selling, their stock price dropped, what, $3 billion with a B dollars? Yeah. That's insane.
It tells you the investors and the fans are, like, in lockstep together.
It shows who really believes in them.
Exactly. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know what to expect from Manchester United at this point. Like, they've got all these distractions. I don't know. Brighton is a good team. They've been a little weird this season, right? They got absolutely trucked by West Ham, but other than that, they've looked like the Brighton that we all have come to expect over the last couple of seasons.
I was just looking up their last five. I mean, 9 points out of their last five.
Yeah, I mean, Brighton's good. They're just a good team, right? And, like, they've lost all these players, Caicedo and Trossard, and they just fill it back up and keep on going. And now they got this Evan Ferguson guy who's now, he's the next coming of Harry Kane, allegedly. Anyway, I just don't think this is a good game for United. I don't think it's a good time for United. Like, this feels like a Brighton win to me. But maybe listen, I'm not a United hater. Maybe they will show us a little something that they haven't shown us all season yet. But I love Brighton in that game.
I think the Premier League, I'm not like a Premier League junkie, right? I'm not a Premier League junkie. I'm not. But I enjoy the Premier League when Man United's good. I think that Man United being good is something that is good for the league in general. So, I mean, hopefully they can figure it out. I'm pro. I don't root for Man United, but I am pro Man United being good and competitive because I think it's more fun when they are, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure. They're you mentioned it before. They're a brand at this point, right? And you want those brands.
I grew up and everybody that I knew that was a diehard EPL fan was a Man United fan.
And that's because that was the only team that you could like. in the United
Yeah,
States for a while, right? Like they
and
had that
it's
partnership with the Yankees. They were the only one you could watch on TV. They were good. They were the best
that's
team in the
true.
league. So yeah, I mean, like understandable. When I was growing up, everybody was a United fan too. Um, any other games stand out? Mitch, you mentioned Nottingham Forest and Burnley on Monday. Real barn burner there. Although, listen, tricky trees. We're all tricky tree fans around here. This point with Matt Turner taking us being the tricky trees to the promised land, meaning mid table. Hopefully, I still don't know what to expect from Burnley. I really just don't know what that team is. I had high expectations for them. They've been bad, and they looked bad against Tottenham the other week. So yeah, we have not seen the best of Burnley.
I'll say Tottenham looked good against them, though.
Yeah,
I don't like giving that credit, but that's the fact of it. Vincent Kompany is not going to go down without a fight. He's going to adjust, and I think he's gonna have 2 weeks to prepare for this Forest game, and may just have something up his sleeve. So I think that'll be more fun than I'm giving it credit.
Fair enough. Other games that stand out to me: West Ham hosting Man City. Like West Ham is just a team that I wouldn't want to play, right? I mean, they're just a team that I don't know. It's not like they scare you, right? You don't look at West Ham's roster and you're like, oh, Mikel Antonio, goddamn, he's gonna truck us for 5 goals like Erling Haaland, and some of the guys that have had great seasons for them just haven't been playing quite as well lately. But man, they get it done. I this could be a game where Man City drops points. I could see that happening on the road at West Ham after an international break where probably all their players were on the road traveling, whereas West Ham probably not quite as much. I think this is just a little bit of a little upset alert, just to keep it on the radar. Game,
little sprinkle, just
a sprinkle, a little bit, just a little
sprinkle,
just a couple little shards. Other games: Newcastle Brentford should be.
I'm gonna say, how do you feel about this one?
About Newcastle Brentford?
Yep.
I mean, listen, Newcastle. They're we've talked about it for basically a year plus now. Like they're a good team. They're in the Champions League. Yet the start to the
they've
season,
underperformed this season.
Just this season though, right? Because they were overperforming like up until the season. This season, they have not been that good, like at all. So yeah, Brentford, they're a strong mid-table team. It seems like that's what they're playing like. Newcastle, they have so much talent that you think that they're going to figure it out, right? Like the thing that Mikey and I kept saying is like, we think they're going to be good, and then they're going to kind of maybe run out a little steam, into halfway through the season because they're playing in all these tournaments. But man, they ran out of steam like 2 games into the season. So yeah, this would be an interesting game. And and this is at home. This is a game where Newcastle, if they trip up again, then I would maybe start. I wouldn't be worried yet if I was a Newcastle fan, but if they drop points in this game, even though Brentford's no pushover, if they drop points though at home in this game, then I would start to be a little like, where are we going this season? Like what? Let's get some more of this Saudi money. let's start start looking what's happening in January. Wolves, Liverpool, Tottenham, Sheffield. I mean, like I'm now nervous because like this is a game, the way that Spurs are playing at home against Sheffield United, there's like no way we drop points, right?
Say louder.
Yeah, I'm saying that with a big air quotes. I mean, it just like everything feels too right. Things are going too well. Something has to happen in a negative way, and losing at home to Sheffield United would fit squarely in that box. So it's not about sort of how the teams are playing at all. I'm excited for the first time in God knows how long about Spurs and what I'm expecting and what I'm watching, what I'm seeing from them. But this is what we do. We fuck it up somehow. So could we lose this game? Yeah, absolutely. Only because we're Tottenham though, not because of like how we're playing or how they're playing. All right, we hit most of the high points there. Let's go to stoppage time, right? That's next. Yep, stoppage time. So we're going to start with Ivan Toney's best bets. I am happy and pleased as punch to report that the overtrain is cooking. It is cooking again, boys and girls. We are back. We are so back. I gave out 2 games last week, but hit them both. Oxford City hosting Hartlepool in the National League was 5-2, resounding win. Oh, that felt really good. Shout out Oxford City putting up 5 points, 5 goals in that game. The other game was Wrexham and Doncaster, 2-1. I'm gonna call that a win. You know, I'm sure that it was probably minus, I don't know, 160 or something like that. So it wasn't like a, plus money bet or anything like that. But you put them together and you're definitely getting plus money. And so I'm gonna call that a good week. I'm gonna say that's a good week. The overtrain is cooking. So this is what happens though. I get a little too excited, and now I got all sorts of games. I want to throw so many games at everybody. I'm going to give you guys the first shot, though. So, Mitch, I know you're ready. You got your best bet. Ivan Toney's best bet lined up. So hit us with it.
Yeah, I got some stupid stuff going for you. We got an 8 versus 9 in the Bundesliga. We have Borussia Dortmund away to Freiburg. I like Borussia Dortmund here. They've gone on a bit of a lull of a run recently, or at the beginning of this Bundesliga season. They are on the road against Freiburg, but I think after an international break in which Gio Reyna has not been playing, I think they'll come into Freiburg Stadium, maybe put up 2 or 3 on them.
Reportedly, Gio might be back and playing.
Yes, that's kind of hinging upon, and that's plus money by itself. And then I'm also going to add, we're going to add Spurs money line.
Oof.
just to sweeten it. And then we're going to go Arsenal minus 1.5 against Everton. That, all 3 of those combined, plus 540. So
casual plus 540.
All 3 money lines, Dortmund, Spurs, and Arsenal.
I like Dortmund. I don't mind Arsenal. I'm not sure I like Spurs. I don't know. I just something's icky.
I think you should tweet like a way too specific prediction for the game. And with the like real off chance that you're going to get on one of those like freezing cold or super hot takes.
That's right. You never
really kind of try to tell the story of the game before kickoff, just for fun.
All right, I'm going to think about that. But unfortunately, my brain is like pushing me towards, saying that we, go into the 87th minute 0-0 and they, get an own goal off of God knows who our defenders are going to be. I don't know if Romero's healthy or not, but yeah. I don't know. I'm excited. By the way, I'm excited about Van de Vel and Romero. I'm excited about so many things about Spurs. I'm actually happy talking about Spurs. I'm so happy. Anyway, we'll be done with that for now. Jeff, what do you got for us? Ivan Toney's best bets. Jeff Adenella version.
Are we doing parlays? Does that have to be a parlay?
Yeah, you can do anything you want. Anything your heart desires.
All right, I'm gonna go MLS. I'm gonna take. So it's a little bit of a homer pick here. Give me Timbers money line against Austin at plus 265.
Ooh, are they on the road or at home?
They're on the road.
Okay.
They got a little spice. They're getting a little bit feisty. They're always down to make a nice little playoff run. Interim coach Miles Joseph, love him. So I'm gonna back the boys. Let me see if I can find something else I like to just sprinkle a little something on top of that. I'll take Inter Miami at the plus 150 against Atlanta. Package that together.
So, by the way, Mitch, you took
Miami
money
line,
and
everyone tried to talk me out of it.
They still pulled it out last season without Messi.
They didn't have Messi, right?
Without Messi. Messi's going to be back, right? We assume he's not hurt. He's like he came off one of their games early and sort of said he felt something. All right, so
we can operate under the assumption that he's back.
We're assuming he's back.
Oh, well, that might change things up here, boys.
Well, we'll keep it in mind. We'll see how.
Yeah, we'll go with the Inter, the old the classic Inter Miami Portland Timbers parlay special.
Easy.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Easy money. Honestly, they're really just giving away at this point.
You jogged my memory here, though. I would like to get your thoughts. Now we're talking about Portland Timbers. So, they parted ways with Gio Savarese the other week. What was your sort of take on that?
I mean, I think that I appreciate what Gio was able to do for that club. I was there when he really turned it over and it was really transitional. But I also think that at the same time, there comes a point where you just need a new voice. You know, there's a lot of different players coming in. You need to get results, and if you're not getting results, then sometimes the best thing is to just kind of find a new voice to lead the group of players that you have. And there's been a lot of change there. That's Ned Grabvoice taking over as the GM. There's been a lot of people that have come in and out. Even all the way down to there's been a lot of trainers who have left. There's been a lot of even the like the team admin who was there for years and years and years. Like he took a new job. So there's just a lot of new people behind the scenes that have been moving in and out. So I think that it was just kind of time where, it was an easy time to make a move and make a decision that will change the voice of who's leading the organization. And I think that that's kind of how it played out and what happened. And it's a team that's very ambitious to always make the playoffs. They always want to kind of be in the conversation and in the mix. And sometimes you have to do that before the end of the season to see if it can spark the group internally. And they're on a little bit of a run right now, and I know that Miles has been there a long time. He has a lot of the respect of a lot of people in the locker room. So I'm hopeful that they can make it to the playoffs. Mainly for the boys, and I think that Ned's been working hard for the opportunity to be the GM out there. So I'm hopeful that they can make a run. So they always say bet with your mind, not with your heart. But I do the exact opposite, and it doesn't really always play out well for me. But
Of course not, but it's more fun
I like
that
to
way.
like if I win my bet, then my heart's happy and my wallet's happy, and if I lose, then I'm just completely devastated. So that's how I kind of like to measure my
Yeah,
bet.
you don't like the mixed emotions of winning the bet and being unhappy with the result, right? Like I feel you on
No,
that. I like to double down
I'm
in the
all
same
in.
way.
I'm all in. Heart, wallet, take it all.
I like that. I like that. Well, let's go all in then on overtrain. We're cooking, like I said, and this is what happens. I get a little too excited and I want to give out too many winners. I'm just that's my problem. I want to. I'm too
You gotta start
generous.
paying for these
Too
picks.
generous with the winners here. So basically, I picked out 8 games that I want to give out. I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna list them. I'm gonna give you the ones that I want to give you if I was going to get ridiculous and give you the 8 games. I'm not actually officially going with 8 games. But here are the 8. So, well, here are the 3 I'm not giving you. J League, this Hokkaido Consadole Sapporo team is just money on the overs. J1, by the way, the first Japanese league. They're playing Shannon Bellemare. That's over for sure. Saturday night. MLS Atlanta Miami over is just easy money. That feels like easy money, assuming that everybody's back, even if
What's
they're
that?
not back.
What's the line at? What is that?
I think it's 2.5, but then like minus like 190 or something last I looked. So it's kind of in between 2.5 and 3.5, which is how they always get you those B words. And A League. So Sydney, this is actually a cup game in Australia. So Sydney FC and Western United are playing on Sunday. Those are the 3 that I'm not officially going to give you. But if you're looking to just like sprinkle a little something on some extra games, there you go. Here are the 5. Yeah, we're going 5. God damn it! I'm giving you 5 games. Bayern and Bayer Leverkusen on Friday. That is easy money. Like Bayern's at home. Bayer Leverkusen scores goals left and right. That just feels like a game that is going to have a lot of goals in it. Then we're going on Saturday. I got 3 games. I really wanted to knock it down to 2, but I couldn't. I couldn't decide which to get rid of because I love you guys so much and I want you to be rich with me. So we're gonna go in the National League in England, in the most English sounding game you'll ever hear. Ebbsfleet United facing Chesterfield. In the National League, that will absolutely be over. Denmark. Oh yes, oh yes. We're going to Denmark, the Danish league, Nordjylland. I don't know how to pronounce that one. They're playing FC Copenhagen. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I know they both score a ton of goals. It's like 1 and 2 in the league. They will absolutely be scoring. That's Saturday. Then finally, League MX. We got America and Chivas, and anytime they play, they both score. So this is a both BTS both to score and over special. And then on Sunday we're going to the Cyprus. We're going to the Cyprus League. Yep. I'm telling you, I do the research here. Aris Limassol and Paphos FC. There's my 5. Bundesliga, National League, Denmark, Liga MX, Cyprus. We go all around the world to find you guys the overs that you desire, that you need. And there you go. So let's go get rich. Let's have ourselves a little weekend, boys and girls. Finally, GOAWs time. The segment everybody's been waiting for, everybody's favorite. So Jeff, you're not a noob anymore. You're not the new guy, but I feel like you're the newest. So I will give you the honors of going first if you're ready.
I am ready. I just have to look up his name really quick. So, as people listening to this may or may not know, I'm very invested in the football mesh. I'm very, very heavily invested in being somebody that can talk both footballs and being pretty good at it. So, my shout out is to Brandon Aubrey, kicker of the Dallas Cowboys, who played in the MLS. He's doing the Josh Lambo trick. He's doing the whole thing. It's been resurrected. Josh Lambo was before his time. People weren't calling it out as much. But now we have MLS representation once again. And not only kicking in the league, but kicking for America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, which
you had me until the America's team part. Then you lost me a little bit.
I hate the Cowboys. Personally, I hope they lose, but I hope he makes every kick.
Okay. All right.
I hope they lose, but I hope he makes every kick.
I'm glad you brought that up. Josh Lambo is on the program. He's a member of Sam Fam, so shout out to Josh. And I'm
ex-goalie, of course he was on. Of course he was on your show.
Oh, he had plenty of time to stand around. So think about what he wanted to do with his life, and he's like, I want to go on Sam's Army. So big brain on him, big brain. That's a good shout out. That's a good go. Well done, Jeff. Okay, Mitch.
That's cool. They were talking about him on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I saw that. Cool. That was great. That was great. Cool. Yeah,
I'm playing my boss in fantasy this week, and I do have the Cowboys defense and special teams, so I'm a massive fan of his right now. He's hooping. It's a great GOAWs shout, Jeff. I have 2 of them, similar to Jeff actually. I also consider myself a bit of a 2-sport. Expert's a strong word, but conversationalist maybe. And so I want to give one of my GOAWs to the German national team. Not the football team, but the basketball team that won FIBA and kind of reinforced Noah Lyle's comments a couple days ago now, that the NBA has no real right to call themselves world champions when they win an NBA championship because they do not play against the world. For Team USA, which let's admit was not our best American players out there, for Team USA to go out there, get disqualified in the semifinal, and then have Dylan Brooks make a fool of us in the 3rd place game was not the best look. The fact that 2 former Celtics in Dennis Schroeder and Daniel Tice took home the FIBA championship, weird pride there, I suppose. But shout out to the Germans. That's a hell of an accomplishment for a title and a trophy that Team USA usually wins. My second GOAW.
Yep.
Yeah, right. My second GOAW. Do either of you know who is the all-time leader in international assists? You know who this player is, but do you know who it is?
Now we're talking Neymar, soccer, not baseball. Or not basketball.
Yes, in soccer. Neymar is number 2 with 56. This player has 58. His name is Landon Donovan.
I've heard of him.
Landon Donovan is the all-time leader in international assists. That's a stat that I no idea that he has more than anybody else all time, that an American holds that stat. Neymar needs 3 more to beat him and likely will surpass him in career. But I had just no idea that Landon Donovan held that title. So Landon Donovan is my GOAW this week.
That's an all-time sports bar trivia question.
Yeah. Right? You would. I mean, if I gave you 5 guesses, you wouldn't have guessed Donovan.
Nope.
Not because he's not good, just because you didn't think he was, dishing out assists like that. But
he was our goal. You could have even really narrowed down to goal scorer
for a while.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It is a great bar trivia question, although it's not going to last very long. It sounds like it might, Neymar is going to pass him. And also, I didn't have this written down, but didn't Neymar just pass like all-time Brazilian leading goal scorer list or something like that. I think he
Oh,
became.
I want to say that was like last international window that he did that, but
Okay.
yes, I
Shout out
think
to
he
him.
had.
I mean, that's huge, obviously. Okay, so I got a whole list here. We'll go through it
Of course.
quickly. So I got Barcelona. I got it. This is perfect for goas, right? So we got a good one and a bad one. Shout out to Barca and their grass store that they're setting up right next to the Camp Nou to sell Barcelona grass for between $20 or €20 and €420, which they're selling grass for 200 or €420. That got me thinking that maybe they're bridging the gap into the medical marijuana field. I don't know what's going on there. Also, goddamn, they must be broke if they're selling grass. But shout out to Laporte. He's got more levers than we even knew. But on the positive side of Barcelona, shout out to two Americans. So Adrian Gill and Diego Cochin, who are they've been balling out there for years at this point. Adrian Gill, I think, has been training with the first team. Diego, who's a goalkeeper, is on the roster for Champions League. So like these kids, I mean, I say they're kids because like they are kids, but like they're also, I don't know, 18, 19. Like they are, I feel like these are two names that we do not hear about as, I don't know. I feel like you normally you thought you'd be talking a lot more about, guys that are playing at Barcelona and making waves there. I feel like they haven't gotten quite the notoriety or the credit around here as they deserve, but I think they probably will soon. So it's just two names to keep on the radar. Mitch, I know you want to add something.
Yeah, sorry. I spoke to Adrian Heal's agent probably 3 years ago now. This is pre-COVID. But I watched him play at a U14 tournament in Florida, and he was head and shoulders like the most mature player on that young team. And we're gonna have the caveat here that it was a bunch of like 12 and 13-year-olds. But I spoke to his agent back then, and he said that his development is something that they've wanted to keep under wraps for a little while because of the stigma that comes with being a Barcelona Academy product. And if we as American, I mean, we saw what we did with Pulisic when he went over to Dortmund, and we saw that a teenager was going to play in one of Europe's top 5 leagues, even be associated with their academy, let alone like be good in it. We all lost our mind. He came to fruition, luckily, but they said that it was fairly purposeful that he's kind of flown under the radar until now, and that when we see him, his game will do the talking. I'm not I'm kind of paraphrasing right now, but he said it was pretty purposeful. But I've seen the kid play 3 years ago. Good,
Yeah.
good player.
I mean,
Like
he's one of those
we got a good
midfielders who does everything. He's gonna be
yes,
a baller. So shout
controls.
out to them real quick, to Adrian and Diego. Couple more though, and these are all honorable mentions before we work our way up to the actual goal for the week. Nicola Pepe deserves a shout out for his big money move to Trabzonspor. A couple years after being bought by Arsenal for whatever 70 plus million, he was sold for 515K. So making big moves there. Well done, sir. And Paul Pogba's witch doctor. So I think he must have shot him in the butt with the wrong drugs, because Paul Pogba apparently just tested positive for testosterone or something like that. Some naughty drug. Sounds like the witch doctor may have, switched something up on him. My actual Goa, and this, I'd never figured I'd ever give this person a positive Goa award, but I'm giving it to Sergio Ramos. I used to give him so much shit. I don't know if I didn't like him or I just didn't like his game or whatever. But he was on the Real Madrid side. I was for a long time kind of more on the Barca bandwagon and Messi side. So Sergio Ramos, he's kind of grown on me lately, which is weird because he's like been playing for PSG, which seems like a team that you don't grow on somebody when you play for PSG. But anyway, he has. And maybe it's him getting old and me getting old. But Sergio Ramos had all sorts of offers to go play in the Saudi league for, unseemly sums of money. And he said, no, I'm going to go back and play for Sevilla, his hometown club, the club that he grew up playing for before he was sold for a then world record fee to Real Madrid, and obviously became the Sergio Ramos we know at this point. He went back there and signed for them, took way less money, obviously. And this is a club who, he's had let's say a touchy relationship with over the years, because he was sold to a rival in Real Madrid, who then beat the pants off of Sevilla year in, year out. And so the Sevilla fans have given him a lot of abuse over the years. And he said, you know what, I'm gonna leave all that money on the table from the Saudi league. I'm gonna go play for Sevilla and sort of bring a full circle to my story. And I kind of, first of all, I really respect that. And I just thought it was a cool move. And so shout out to Sergio Ramos, who I never thought I'd be making a positive goa, but I think he deserves it. So shout out Sergio. Well done, sir. And that's all we got. Mitch, thank you. It's always great to have you on. Looking good, feeling good. I like the black look you got going on there. Jeff, same thing. Great to have you. A little GKU officially in the mix. Hopefully you'll grace
you
us.
Can't quit me. You can't quit me. You can't quit me, Sam. I'm growing.
You're not really GKU though, because you're our goalkeeper now. So it's a different situation.
Oh, thanks, man.
And thank you everybody who were listening. We will be back next week with more of the good stuff. See you guys then.